Well, here we are. The quite a powerful gospel passage. What we need to remember in this, though, is even though it says 5, 2, and 1 in terms of the quantity, we should not make the mistake of thinking of a talent as like only one coin. A talent, a silver talent, was so valuable that it was really literally worth several lifetimes of work if it was in quantity. And one talent would have been worth a life's work for someone. So when the master goes away and he gives to one 5 talents, another one 2, and another one 1, it's not a question of like 5 silver dollars and 2 silver dollars and 1 silver dollar. It actually is a tremendous amount of money, a great power, resource to be able to do something with that. And that is why the master is so outraged when he comes home, and nothing was done with all this possibility, all this possibility, this resource that was so generously left to the servants, but it belongs to the master. And so rightly did they say he should expect some return on this when he gets back. And 2 of them did it, but the third simply said, "You're a hard master, and I was afraid." So he didn't trust his own talent in terms of his gift to manage. But what happened is he buried the talent of the master, the resource, and so it could accomplish no good whatsoever. It had been as if the master had simply left it in the bank without any cooperation at all from his servants. He could have at least had some return on the investment. Slim as it might have been, it would not have been multiplied in half. So as we take a look at this wonderful gospel passage, it gives us the opportunity to be reminded that God is sharing his love with us, his work with us. And this is something that comes to us from a very, very gracious God, very, very loving, very, very generous in what he wishes for us to accomplish. Can I ask you to close the doors, please? I think someone's talking on the phone in the lobby, and it's coming over. Thanks so much. I hope whatever the phone call is, that it's something that is helpful. So we are meant to be people who are ambassadors for Christ's love. We are meant to be people who are filled with the love and mercy of God. And that is literally a limitless quantity. In the course of our lifetimes, we would never run out of the possibility of doing good for another person, of showing our love for neighbor, as well as love of self. And so that's what we're called to do, not to simply take the love that God gives us, that he places within our hands and within our heart, not to simply take that and bury it, but to have it be a constant source of graciousness and love and mercy, not kept to ourselves or buried in the ground, but shared, so that people can get to know God's love. This is also a Stewardship Sunday in November, and it's a very appropriate gospel for us because it talks about acknowledging that every gift we have comes from God. And what I'd like to expressly mention is this. It seems to me that the driving force in this scripture passage among the person who wasted a lifetime of valuable money was that he was afraid. He feared God. Now, the Old Testament says that fear of God is the beginning of wisdom, but this was not a fear that prompted the person to realize that the master was going to return one day and would expect to have some return on his investment. It is a reminder to us that God one day will be judging you and me on what we did in the flesh according to what our particular gifts were. But as humble as we may be, we still have placed within our heart and within our hands the power to love God and to love neighbor, to do good, to extend mercy, to lift up the fallen, to give people hope. And that is not something that should make us afraid, but it should rather really inspire us to know that we are working with a resource that is essentially limitless. The mercies of the Lord are not exhausted. The scriptures say they are renewed each morning, so great is his faithfulness. And so I'm reminded of this passage in the second letter of St. Paul to Timothy, where he says, I am mindful of the sincere faith. This is chapter 1, verse 5. I am mindful of the sincere faith within you, which first dwelt in your grandmother Lois and in your mother Eunice, and I'm sure that it is in you as well. For this reason, I remind you to kindle afresh the gift of God which is in you. For God has not given us a spirit of timidity, but of power and love and discipline. For God has saved us and called us with a holy calling, not according to our own works, but according to his own purpose and grace, which was granted us in Christ Jesus from all eternity. And so we did not receive a spirit of fear because of the gifts that God has shared with us in our faith in God and our knowledge of God and our love of God, but it actually has given us a spirit of power and not fear, not timidity, but love and generosity. A couple weekends ago, I sent you all a letter, and it is addressed to the needs of the parish. I'd like to share part of that with you. It says this, in case you weren't part of our mailing list or managed to not have this letter find you. It says, I hope this letter finds you well. I write to you to give you a sense of how our parish is doing about 8 months into the pandemic. People have become more aware of their need for God, it seems to me. Parishioners tell me that homilies have spoken to their hearts and have encouraged many near and far. Music during the Masses has been over the top. Chris and his teams know how to weave peace of mind through all the great music that exists. And our Spanish Masses, Victor and Veronica, have done an outstanding job, Sunday after Sunday, reminding us of the love of God and the joy that the knowledge of God's love can bring. We have a new couple leading Appalachian service projects and are excited about preparing for 2021. We have a strong pastoral council, new ministries for justice and the environment, published a ministry directory, a parish annual report, which I call to your attention, and we're launching a revamped website, which is up. Most importantly, we are striving to be a church where people can find God's love in our words and deeds. Our parking lot is a distribution center to help feed hungry families. Through your generosity and our working with community coalitions, it is a place for COVID testing, confessions and masses, with even quinceaneras and wedding anniversary celebrations. We are sad for the events and milestones that we could not mark together fully assembled, the events that were postponed, and even sadder for the individuals who were unable to come to church in person for joyful celebrations or during times of great distress and sorrow. In this stewardship letter, I mentioned that with all this upheaval, we have faced unprecedented challenges to our financial well-being with the cessation of in-person masses during the pandemic. you should know that we have experienced an operating loss of approximately $45,800 in the last fiscal year. As with many facilities, with many large parishes that have facilities, a large portion of our operating budget, 63%, is dedicated to labor costs and benefits. Another 16% is remitted to the Archdiocese for its support and for Catholic schools. With only 20% of the budget remaining for all other expenses, the limited resources available to expand programming to meet the needs of existing parishioners and to attract new members is an area of concern during this pandemic. And so this is my humble plea to you. If you are not enrolled in Give Central, the electronic funds transfer, please consider registering at www.givecentral.org/location/501. That's on our website. It is extremely beneficial to our parish. And if you can, according to your means, prayerfully consider increasing your weekly financial support. That would be a tremendous help to us, even if it's $5 or $10 a week. Now, more than ever, we are called upon to support our parish according to our ability. Additionally, if you know of someone who needs help, please let us know. Besides the things that we have been doing as our regular work as a parish community, as a people of God, on pilgrimage back to the Father, on this Stewardship Sunday in November, this month in which we have at the beginning, we have our memorial for our veterans and thanksgiving to their service. And also we have Thanksgiving, our gift of our humble acknowledgement of our gratitude to God for one another and for all his blessings. So I'm asking you to not only support our ordinary parish operations, but at this time to specifically support 4 efforts of our church which help us to live as a people of God, eager to love our neighbors as ourselves. There are these 4 specific outreaches of St. John's. They go to provide rent assistance for parishioners, to keep them in their homes, tuition assistance and scholarships, to keep promising students in school, to gift cards to needy families at Christmas time, and we want you to continue to please support by your continuing to bring food items to our church, help us feed the hungry, and also by your financial donations to enable us to purchase food. These 4 things you may mark specifically and send them to our office or to my attention. On this Stewardship Sunday, I acknowledge that we have God's work to do, and we should not be afraid that we will not be able to do it. God places into our hands and to our hearts his love, which is inexhaustible. And in this time of uncertainty with the pandemic, it enables us to not give in to fear, but to continue to be people of the hope and of spirit and of love and mercy. I'm reminded, besides this quotation from the letter of Timothy, the story of an old pastor who I ran into when I was first ordained and got to know and respect him greatly. He was a humble soul, but he had a little card printed up with the name and address of the parish on one side. But on the other side of it was simply the letters CH hyphen hyphen or underscore underscore CH. CH blank blank CH. And underneath the CH blank blank CH, it had this little quotation. It said, "What's missing?" And then it had the letters "You are." What's missing? You are. And they would then say, "Come join the church. Come be a part of our parish. Come work with our parish family for love of God and love of neighbor." So, our gospel today invites us to join in God's work according to our means and gifts. And I am very grateful, humbly very grateful to you that God has invited us to join in his work. God bless your good stewardship and your generous heart. And let's continue as in the story of the temple tax. Render to Caesar what belongs to Caesar, but give to God what belongs to God. Your parish family and its work helps each one of us, no matter what our means are, to be part of something much greater than ourselves. And that does not lead us into fear at all, but a spirit of adoption and courageous love.